Hello everyone, my name's Aloubell and welcome to part 6 of Miraculous Bonds Beyond Fate, my Miraculous Ladybug AU with a different origin story and different other things too. If this video is your first exposure to Bonds Beyond Fate, then please check out the story from the beginning. Return for part 6 when you are ready. For everyone else, sit back, relax, hit that like button for the algorithm, subscribe for more reviews, rants, and rewrites, put a camera emoji in the comments, and enjoy Miraculous Bonds Beyond Fate Part 6. Marinette, Adrien, Nino, and Alya all sit down at a table to eat their lunches together. And just as Mari was getting ready to take her first bite, Alya spoke up. So, speaking of Ladybug and Cat Noir, both Adrien and Mari's body became rigid with nervousness. I don't think I've had the chance to totally geek out about them around you yet. Well, around Marinette yet. I wasn't expecting Adrien to be here after all. For some reason, hearing that made Adrien feel a bit sad. Alya could see it on his face and she tried to clean up her statement. Not that I don't want you here, it's cool that you are. Now I can share my findings with the both of you. Findings? What findings? Mari asked. Well, since you and Adrien were off doing who knows what for the past few days, being totally distracted by whatever, I did some research about the superheroes. But Ladybug and Cat Noir are completely new. How can you do research on them? Adrien asked her. They aren't the only superheroes, Agrest, Alya told him. There are heroes all around the world. How do you not know that? Adrien blushed. I've been homeschooled for most of my life, and I didn't get out much. Oh, Alya's voice trailed off. But wait, for you to not know anything about superheroes, you'd have to never have read a comic, watched many cartoons, or spoken to many other people. I've never gotten into comics, wasn't allowed to watch cartoons, and I've mostly only been around adults. They weren't particularly interested in talking about superheroes, Adrien told her. But you know Chloe, Nino asked. Her family is good friends with mine. Business friends mostly, but Chloe and I grew up together. She was my only friend, really. You know? That explains a lot, actually, Nino said. I guess it does, Alya told him. And I suppose I can't give you too much grief. After all, get this, Europe hasn't had a single superhero for over 300 years. Isn't that crazy? 300 years? It's really been that long? Marinette asked. She remembered what Master Fu said about the European Guardian refusing to hand out any miraculous due to their overcautiousness, but she had no idea it had been that long. Yeah, with how old the history is, you can only imagine how long it took me to find anything substantial, and even then, I didn't discover that much. But interestingly enough, there hasn't been any supervillains in the past 300 years either, just regular, non-superpowered criminals. Hawkmoth is the first supervillain in a really long time. Alya holds up her phone to Adrien and Mari, showing them old documents from the library that she took pictures of. It's crazy that a supervillain and superhero show up at the same time, huh? What a crazy coincidence, Nino said. Nino, coincidences like this don't just happen. One of those things caused the other to exist. I'm sure of it. Alya thought about it. Maybe it's a balance in the universe sort of thing? Like, if a bad guy shows up, the universe balances it out and makes a good guy show up as well? Or maybe it's the reverse, like the dark and light sides of the Force. What Force? Adrien asked, puzzled. She's talking about Star Wars, Marinette told him, slightly amused. Ah, I've never actually seen it, Adrien told them. Both Alya and Nino slapped the table with their palms and stood up with urgency as they both shouted, You've never seen Star Wars? Adrien gulped and considered his answer very carefully. No? Alya scowled. Nino? Nino took out his phone and began typing. Already on it, scheduling a movie night as we speak. Adrien continued to look concerned and nervous as he peered over at Marinette for help. She chuckled uneasily, but gave him a reassuring look. I'm not a huge fan like they are, but it's pretty interesting. It's definitely more fun when you get to watch it with friends. Oh, then count me in. Adrien gave them a thumbs up. Alya gave Adrien a nod of approval. She and Nino then sat back down. Anyway, I got off track. It's totally weird that all of these weird things are suddenly happening. Why in Paris? Why only in Paris? I haven't heard anything else about heroes in other countries in Europe. Have you, Marinette? Mari shook her head. No, nothing. The fact that there are only heroes and a villain in Paris is evidence of what I said before. One showing up caused the other to show up. But what made whoever show up first to begin with? That's the juicy information I'm missing. And why are all of the superheroes in the world all animal or bug themed? You'd think there'd be more variety. Wow, you really have thought this through, huh, Alya? Marinette asked, completely impressed. Not only that, Alya exclaimed, but check this out. After looking through a good chunk of the heroes in the world, I realized that they all have weapons of some sort. Sometimes it's an item you wouldn't expect, and sometimes it's a legitimate weapon. None of the heroes seem to have just innate powers. Unless they themselves created the weapons? There's so much to find out. Alya seemed to be stuck in her own world now as she speculated out loud. You sure are passionate about superheroes, Adrien said to her. Oh, it's not just heroes, Nino told him. I mean, yeah, Alya loves superheroes, but she's looking to be the next best journalist out there. If anything is mysterious, interesting, or newsworthy, she wants a piece of that action. And recently, all of the superpower stuff has gotten her all spazzing out. Of course I'm spazzing out, Alya confirmed. You guys don't understand the weight of the current situation. Europe has been in the dark regarding superheroes for the past 300 years. There's limited information about them. I could literally be the first person to uncover their secrets. Do you know how big that is? It's monumental. Ladybug and Cat Noir are right under our noses, and I intend to get close and personal to find out everything I need to know. She then wrapped an arm around Nino's shoulders and aggressively pulled him close. With my trustworthy cameraman by my side, nothing will escape our sight. Nino just chuckled nervously. Are you really telling me that this big surge of inspiration only happened within the past few days? Marinette asked. You've missed a lot, Nino told her bluntly. Alya brought her arm back to herself and took a sip of her drink. Go on, Nino. Show her some of the photos you took. Upon her command, Nino unlocked his phone and went into his gallery. He held up the screen for Adrien and Mari to see. As he scrolled, they saw pictures of some of the Kumatai citizens along with unclear, unfocused, distant, and low-quality pictures of Ladybug and Cat Noir. Wait, you took these pictures? Mari asked, concerned. Yeah, I know. The quality isn't the best, Nino told her, exasperated. But give me a break. These guys are always jumping around and fighting. Not to mention we have to dodge attacks and avoid being seen. That's exactly what I'm getting at, Mari said sternly. Those battles are dangerous. You shouldn't have even been that close to take those pictures. Nino was taken aback by her insistence. Well, yeah. It's a necessary risk, Marinette, Alya said. The best journalists get close to the action to get the best shots and to see the action as it unfolds. Without being there, you don't have the right information to report. I get that, but you're just a teenager. No one is expecting you to risk your lives for this. Mari couldn't help but think of all the close calls she had recently with Hawkmoth's attacks. She and Adrien can handle what he threw at them for the most part, given that their miraculous enhances their human abilities and endurance, but the idea of her non-superpowered friends being in the mix horrified her. Even worse, she never even noticed that they were even there. How many other civilians were in danger when they were fighting? Mari, I appreciate you being the mom of the group, but we'll be fine. I'm always fine, right? Alya gave her a reassuring smile. I'd like to think we're too smart to get involved in anything too bad. Right, Nino? Nino was hesitant as he thought about some stuff. He then simply said, yeah, right. Being completely oblivious to Nino's reservation, Alya continued to smile confidently towards Marinette. You see? Adrien simply sat awkwardly quiet throughout all of this. He knew he had already asked too much of Alya, even though he only just met her. Of course he agreed with Marinette, but he felt like it wasn't his place to speak up one way or another. I mean, it's great to hear that you're being careful, but I still don't want you to do it. Mari looked down as her voice became more timid. Hearing her tone, Alya calmed down a bit and became more serious. Come on, Marinette. This is my dream, my future we're talking about. This is really important to me. Having your support in this would mean the world. What do you say? She gave her friend a small, pleading grin. What do I say? What can I say? Mari thought to herself. I want you to be safe, but I don't want to discourage you from your dream. But I want you to be safe. Hawkmoth isn't playing games. He will kill people to get our Miraculous. Adrien is already always in danger along with me, but I can't risk Alya and Nino as well. Their lives could be lost, or I could lose them as friends. I know which option is better, but I just... Mari abruptly stood up from her spot and sternly told her friends, "I'm sorry, I need to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back." She then turned and walked away with an air of dread surrounding her. Alya blinked in concern. "Marinette?" Only a few seconds later, Adrien stood up too. "You know what? I gotta use the bathroom as well. Be back in a few minutes." He then briskly trailed after Marinette. A few awkwardly silent moments after watching him leave, Alya faced their empty spots in front of her. "I'm convinced. There's definitely something going on between them. I'll probe Marinette about that later. Now then," Alya turned to Nino, "is there something you want to tell me?" "What? What do you mean?" "Don't think I didn't notice how shaky your voice sounded back there. I notice almost everything about you, so there's no hiding it." She stared at him. Nino leaned back, feeling a bit pressured as he avoided her gaze. "It's just... it's totally cool that you want to be a journalist. Heck, I already think you're better than anyone at it. No one supports your dream more than I do. Seriously, everyone will know your skills one day." Alya blushed a bit, but tried to stay serious. "Uh-huh. And, well, the thing is..." And right at that moment, there was the sound of a huge crash coming from outside the school. Nino, Alya, and all the other students immediately ceased what they were doing and attended to the source of the sound. The windows in the cafeteria were too high up for them to see exactly what was happening, but a large pillar of smoke could be seen rising up into the sky. It was super close. For the next few seconds, there was nothing. But then suddenly, the room they were in spontaneously shook as an unknown object struck the school's walls from the outside. It was no longer silent as a commotion could be heard from the outside, and even beyond that, the confused students in the cafeteria were starting to panic. Just then, a teacher arrived and alerted the students that there was an Akuma attack happening just outside the school and that the students had to find shelter. While some of the students decided to follow the teachers, some others were having panic attacks, while some others were frozen like deer in headlights. These cases needed special attention from the teachers and adults, while the other students retreated from the cafeteria in a half-orderly, half-chaotic fashion. Meanwhile, Nino and Alya worried about Adrien and Mari. Alya frantically tried to call Marinette on her phone, but there was an immediate busy signal. "Busy? Who could be calling?" Alya turned around to find that Nino was on his phone as well. "Are you trying to call Marinette?" "Yeah." He then noticed the phone up to her ear. "Wait a minute. We can't both try to call her, Nino. It won't work. Try calling Adrien." "I didn't get his number yet, did you?" Alya shook her head worryingly. "No." As they conversed, Alya's notification tone chimed. It was a message from Marinette. It read, "Are you guys alright? Adrien and I are both fine. We're hiding in a safe spot." Alya texted back, "We're fine. Stay put." She then gave a sigh of relief as she and Nino joined their peers. Alya then suddenly went quiet as the gears in her head started to turn. The sounds of bangs and crashes continued to be heard, all sounding just as alarming as the first. It was like they were located in the middle of a construction site where the only tools used were wrecking balls. Some glass shattered above and some of the students ducked their heads and shrieked. "What a cruddy time to get separated, huh?" Nino said. "This is actually really scary." "Yeah," Alya's voice trailed off as she continued to think. "Hawkmoth is a pretty cool dude. I didn't think he'd actually send someone off to attack buildings next to a school." "The Akuma is really close to us," Alya said as she stopped walking. The other students continued to walk past her. "Yeah, that's why..." Nino stopped short once he realized that Alya was no longer walking with him. He turned around to see what she was doing. "Alya?" "With all of these students, it would be really easy to accidentally lose sight of a couple of kids." Holding her phone in her hand, she turned the screen on and stared at it. Nino only saw her lips move, but with all the commotion and with her being a few steps behind, he couldn't hear her all the way. But then again, he didn't need to. He saw the look in her eye. It was a very familiar look. A mischievous, slightly scared yet confident look. Nino immediately became concerned because he knew exactly what was about to happen and how he had virtually little power to stop it. Like a force of nature, Alya immediately ran past Nino, grabbing his hand in the process as she sneakily maneuvered her way through the crowd and out of one of the school's unguarded exits. "This is a bad idea, Alya," Nino loudly warned her as she continued to pull him along. "Yeah, we might get in trouble, but who cares if we make history?" Alya told him with a smile on her face. "That's not the kind of trouble I'm talking about." Alya had pulled him all the way to the front lines. All along the ground was rubble, as the upper part of the closest buildings to the school had been shattered by something. Large, heavy debris covered the street. It really looked like a battlefield. It was then that Alya and Nino caught sight of the akumatized victim. They were using a red giant metal beam to smash the tops of the buildings. Upon seeing him, Alya and Nino tucked away behind an outer wall. Alya's eyes lit up. "Turn on your camera, Nino. We've got to get a shot of this." She took out a wireless microphone from her backpack. Nino frowned. "But we can't." "Sure we can. We're already here, so might as well go through with it, you know? Ladybug and Cat Noir are probably already on their way, so we've got to make sure that we're ready to document everything." Nino's tone became more serious. "Alya, that's not." Another building top was crushed and fell towards the earth with a thud, rumbling the ground beneath their feet. Alya seemed to ignore this. "This has to be a sign. For an Akuma attack to happen right next to our school, the universe must want us to cover this story." "Alya, we're going back to the school right now," Nino told her in his strictest tone. Taken aback by the change in his usual blasé attitude, Alya blinked at him in surprise. "What?" Finally having her attention, Nino took a deep breath as he grabbed Alya's wrist. "Marinette was right. We shouldn't do things that'll put our lives in danger. Do you see these buildings? Any one of those bits falling on our heads and we're finished. It's not worth it." "But..." Alya's face fell with disappointment. "This is my big break. I can't ignore it." "You'll get another big break, or heck, even a safer Akuma fight. But this one isn't it. Come on." He tugged at her arm, but Alya aggressively took her arm away from him. "This could be my only chance. The universe gave it to me." Nino gritted his teeth. Another loud crash. Something then caught his eye. He glanced up, gasped, and immediately reacted by tackling Alya to the ground. And then, a sound that could only be described as being in the heart of thunder itself as the world suddenly went dark. Alya felt the hardness of the ground against her back. Her eyes fluttered open after what felt like forever. It was mostly dark, with only small beams of light peeking through. What happened? It took her a few moments to realize that Nino was right above her, on his hands and knees, his body struggling and shaking. "Nino?" The reality of the situation finally sank in. They were in a pile of rubble that fell from a building. Thanks to some fortunate circumstances, the two of them were already surrounded by a sizable amount of debris when they arrived at the scene, so by the time the new debris fell, most of its fall was broken. However, some of the pieces fell through the cracks and were playing a very dangerous balancing game just above Nino's back. The only thing preventing it from falling and caving in on them, and killing them, was Nino's very specific position. The weight was heavy on the poor boy, but once again, some of it was being supported by the other debris. Nevertheless, he was still having trouble keeping his strength. "Nino, are you okay?" "I've had better days," the boy struggled to say. Can you move at all?" Alya asked. "I'm pretty sure if I move, this whole thing is coming down. I feel something loose behind me. I don't trust it." Alya carefully moved her arms from beside her and felt around the enclosure. After trying to apply a bit of pressure to some debris that was adjacent to a beam of sunlight, all of the other pieces shook, ready to fall in. She immediately stopped what she was doing. Alya gasped. "My cell phone! If I could just get it, I could call for..." It was then that she realized that her phone was nowhere to be found. At least, it wasn't anywhere she could easily reach. "Nino, do you..." "I have no idea where my phone is," he told her. "If I had to guess, it's probably crushed." "So, what? Do we give up?" Alya asked. She tried to think of a solution, but her mind was getting foggier by the second. "We can't just..." And just like that, Alya began to cry when she was able to process the scope of her dreadful situation. "I'm so sorry. This was all my fault." "Don't worry about it. I've got this." Nino continued to put his all into holding up the weight. "I'm so sorry." Alya took a deep breath and then shouted at the top of her lungs, "Help! Somebody help us! Please, help!" The tears ran down the sides of her face and onto the ground. Or, just save Nino. Please, save him. What? Why just me? Nino asked. You're in this mess because of me. I had to be so stupid and stubborn. Marinette warned me, and you tried to tell me, but I didn't listen. If you didn't step in to protect me, I'd be dead. Why would you even risk your life for me like that? I'm pretty sure you know why, Nino said bluntly. Alya pondered on that as a swirl of emotions overcame her. Surprisingly, she began to chuckle bitterly. It's not fair. Of course, this was how we confessed to each other. Nino matched her hopeless laugh. Hey, at least we'll always remember it. Alya covered her eyes with the back of her arm, attempting to shield her tears as she continued to force a smile. What a rotten time to tell an unfunny joke. As expected, the weight was overwhelming Nino and he was giving in. His adrenaline could only take him so far, and now it was depleting. The moment his limbs and back gave out, it was all over, and they both knew it, so they closed their eyes and accepted their fate. Just then, Nino noticed that the load was getting lighter. As that was happening, more and more sunlight shined through the cracks. The swift moments went by, and the layers of debris turned a deep black before crumbling away into small particles. And eventually, they were free! Wait, it's you guys? Said a voice. Nino and Alya shakily sat up and found themselves face to face with Cat Noir, who had a blackish energy covering his hand, and Ladybug, who was right behind him. Alya was elated. Ladybug! Cat Noir! You saved us! Seriously, thanks guys, but how did you get to us so quickly? Nino asked. It was easy. We were just right next door. Ladybug semi-forcefully elbowed Cat Noir's arm before he said too much. It doesn't matter how we got here, Ladybug told them. What were you two doing here in the first place? Shouldn't you be at school? You're just teenagers, right? She was frowning and had her arms crossed. At that moment, she gave off angry mom energy. Alya, feeling guilty, avoided her gaze. It's my fault, Ladybug. I dragged my friend here because... Wait, what happened to the Akama? We dealt with that already, Cat proudly said. Right now we're just cleaning up the mess. Cataclysm is super useful for clearing away debris, and Lucky Charm can help rebuild things. It's gonna take forever to put everything back together, though. Don't change the topic, Ladybug scolded. What were you trying to do? There was no good reason for you to be in a dangerous place like this. Alya sighed and looked at the ground. I know. You could have actually died. I know. I was really stupid. Not only that, but being a superhero is super stressful. Having civilians around only makes our lives harder because we have to focus on protecting you and dealing with the villain. It's just... Ladybug sighed. It's a whole big mess, is what it is. She then looked down at the remorseful girl and felt sympathy, as well as relief that her friend was all right. What she wanted to do was hug them, but couldn't risk revealing her identity. She had to stay firm. Cat Noir placed a gentle, supportive hand on Ladybug's shoulder. I think she's learned her lesson. Yeah, I've learned that I'm a rotten journalist and that I never should have had this silly dream, Alya said in a defeatist tone. Ladybug was then struck with guilt. Wait, that's not true at all, Nino interjected. Yeah, you messed up today, and a few other days, but you're super smart and super determined. You're hungry for knowledge and the truth. Plus, you're super charismatic and you never let anyone tell you what to do. You're a force to be reckoned with, and I want to see what kinds of things you'll do in the future. Alya's face was completely red by this point as her stomach did flips. She smiled to herself. You really mean that, don't you, Nino? Of course! Even Nino's face was a bit red by this point. Since we're being completely honest now, I've felt that way for a while. You're great at what you do, Alya. You just need to be a bit smarter about how you use your great qualities. It's like a use your powers for good kind of thing. You feel me? Alya, still feeling a bit foolish, chuckled lightly. Always the supportive cameraman, even after being near the brink of death. You're something else, Nino. Thank you. Ladybug and Cat Noir smiled as they watched the scene. He's right, you know, Ladybug told her. If I knew who you were, and I don't, I'd say you're a nice, talented girl. Probably. So please don't give up on your dream. It would make a lot of people sad, including you. So, what's your name anyway? Cat Noir asked. Me? I'm Alya Cesare. And what about your cameraman? Kat gestured to Nino. I think you mean, Alya held Nino's hand, my boyfriend. And cameraman. She and Nino looked at each other with deep affection. Wait, what? Ladybug exclaimed. Kat's eyes lit up. Really? That's awesome! Congratulations! Then what's your boyfriend's name? Nino Lahif, Mr. Cat Noir, sir. Mr. Cat Noir, huh? Cat rubbed his chin. I can get used to that. He leaned over to nudge Ladybug's shoulder. She shook her head playfully. Not a chance, kitty. Worth a shot. Anyway, I look forward to seeing the names Alya and Nino in the famous people's magazines. That I can't agree with, Ladybug smiled at them. As long as they make good decisions, that is. We will, Alya exclaimed. Promise. And can I just say, it's awesome meeting you guys. The heroes of Paris, I have so much I want to ask you. Ladybug held up her hand. Sorry, we don't really have time for an interview right now. There's a lot of damage to fix still. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Alya remembered that she doesn't want to inconvenience them. She then patted herself down, and when she couldn't find what she was looking for, she looked down at the spot where she and Nino were buried. Miraculously, she found what she was looking for. Her phone was somehow still in one piece. It had a crack in it, but it was functional. How about a quick photo with you guys? It'll only take a second. I'm fine with it. What do you think, m'lady? Cat Noir asked. Ladybug thought about it. I'm gonna have to decline. Alya frowned in disappointment as Cat Noir asked, How come? Because it would be irresponsible to reward her reckless behavior. She turned to Alya. I'm not trying to be mean. No, I get it. That's fair. But next time? Alya asked hopefully. Ladybug smirked. Depends on how next time goes. For now, you two should head back to school before you get in trouble. I'm pretty sure that ship has already sailed, Nino said. Regardless, everyone will worry about you, so head on back. Alya and Nino nodded. Thanks again, you two. Keep being awesome, Alya shouted as she and Nino ran back to the school hand in hand. Ladybug and Cat Noir watched as they left. Once they were out of earshot, Ladybug let out a huge exhale, as if she'd been holding her breath this whole time. I could tell you were struggling through that, Cat Noir told her with a smirk. You have no idea. I can't believe Alya did that. I could have lost both of my best friends today. But hey, at least she learned her lesson, Cat added. I'd rather she learn it from a lecture than a life or death situation, Ladybug said, feeling completely drained. But yes, at least she learned it. Ladybug looked up towards the sky. Alya has always been like that. Headstrong and a bit reckless. But she's a great friend and is always there for you. Nino, too. He's always got your back no matter what. I'm glad you got to meet them and have them as your friends, too. Cat grinned. Speaking of Nino, did you see what he looked like after I got that rubble off of him? No. Why? He was hunched over Alya, protecting her. If he weren't there holding all that stuff up, they'd both be goners. Or, at the very least, Alya would be a goner. Really? Nino did that? Ladybug looked toward the school in amazement. I guess he was a superhero today as well, huh? He's Alya's hero, that's for sure. And her boyfriend as well, Cat added. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. I mean, I knew they had a thing for each other. They both individually swore me to secrecy, from each other anyway. But I didn't think it would happen so soon. I mean, good for them, but wow. It'll be fun hearing from them how that happened, Cat chuckled. Yep, sure will be. Anyway, let's get back to our job before we get in trouble as well. Just as Ladybug was about to go off and resume her work, Cat Noir reached out and held her wrist. What's wrong? She asked him. He spoke bluntly. Nothing. It's just, I'm still in love with you. It took a few seconds for Ladybug's mind to process what he said. She then made a little squeak with her voice as her face went completely red. What? Cat continued. I figured it was a good time, considering what happened with our friends. Anyway, I fell in love with Ladybug almost instantly, and then I got to know you as both a hero and as Marinette, and it only confirmed my feelings. I never stopped loving you. I only grew to love you more. Ladybug's mouth was agape. She had no idea how to even respond to this, or if she should even respond. All she knew was her heart pounding and her face getting hotter and hotter. Cat noticed her discomfort and hesitation. You don't have to give me an answer. I wasn't really expecting you to. I just wanted to express how I felt is all. I'll still be your friend and trusty partner regardless. He then let go of her wrist and turned around. Well, time to destroy some more rubble. He then ran off. What? What? Ladybug found it hard to find the right words. Then, through her fluster, she shouted out, "You can't just say that and run away." She ran after him. "Get back here, Cat Noir, and let me bop you on the head. Or I'll make a squirt bottle and spray you in the face like a real cat. Come back here." The next day, Alya and Nino sat down and explained to Adrien and Mari what happened the day before and how their relationship started. Once their story was done, they both expected Marinette to blow up and lecture them, so they braced themselves for it. But instead, Marinette leapt towards them and hugged them both tight. "I'm so happy for you guys, and I'm glad you're safe. I don't know what I'd do without you," she said with teary eyes. The couple blinked in surprise, but they happily hugged her back. "Aw, Marinette," Alya started to say. Marinette then cut her off. "But if you ever pull something like that again, you'll wish you were back under the rubble." For a split second, Alya and Nino looked incredibly concerned before laughing it off joyfully. "Yes, Mom," Alya laughed. "Whatever you say," Nino added. Adrien looked on at them with happiness. Like Marinette said the day before, he's lucky to have such a kind and fun group of friends. He hoped that one day he'd officially be one of them instead of just the new guy. He wanted to have inside jokes with them, make memories with them, and be able to talk to them about anything. And so far, things are looking pretty good. But as for now, that's all there is. There isn't any more.